You're short. No, you're cutting my chin off. Stop it. Okay, that's better. Okay, so this is the second video in our new series, Goat Updates. We're planning on doing about 5 minutes per video, unedited, just chatting about what's going on in the goat herd and other semi-related topics to the goat herd. So the latest news is, hey, it's still cutting my chin off. It's still cutting your chin off. I look very short. Stop it. Okay, yeah, we have to find a happy medium between cutting my chin off and cutting her head off. Okay, anyway, so the latest news is last Thursday, Jenny and Honey left, and we talked a little about this last week, but they're basically our two does from our foundation herd, so it really just, like, dropped the bottom out of our herd. It was crazy. They were a little disoriented for a couple of days. Yeah, because Dance had to take over as herd queen, but she started, when we got her, she was from a really big herd.
What was that? Was that a bird?
I don't know. You keep talking.
Whatever.
I'm checking that out.
Okay. Yeah, anyway.
Was that a dog? Was it a squeaker toy?
No, it's not a squeaker toy. It's this chain they have. I don't know. Oh, whatever. Okay, anyway. So Dance was from like a big herd where she was at the low end of the pecking order. And then we got her and she was still kind of at the low end of the pecking order. But now she's having to take over as herd queen. So it's kind of a new experience for her. But yeah.
So, plans to get three
Yes.
goats is not enough for us.
Not enough. So next year we're going to get a new Alpine buckling so we can have a herd sire because we're kind of out of herd sire. So next spring we'll get a new Alpine buckling, and that's going to be great because we have only had the one Alpine buck, and we got him like 3 years ago. And then so the most recent new bucklings we had were 2 years ago. But they were both Nigerians, and Nigerian bucklings are very different from Alpine bucklings because they're like, they'll jump the fence and stuff. It's terrible.
We should talk about how we got out of Nigerians, because we
Yeah.
would have a lot more goats if we had Nigerians still.
We had to sell all the Nigerian bucks we got because they kept jumping the fence. Then they taught our doe to jump the fence, and then she got bred by our big buck. But it was really late in the pregnancy when I realized, so we just had to let her carry. But her pregnancy and delivery went very well for having standard crossed kids, but we really didn't want to have to risk having our Nigerians bred by our big buck, so we gave her to a friend. And then we don't have any other Nigerians except our mini Alpine Weather from 2 years ago, don't ya?
Who we
Yeah,
talked
from
about
when
last
the
episode.
Nigerian buck jumped the fence and bred all the Alpine does, so we had a bunch of mini Alpines from our Alpine does.
Mini
So-
Alpines are not our cup of tea.
No, it's like the worst of both breeds. It's not like the pretty long.
Although we do know some people that adore them, but
Yeah.
they're not our favorites.
And also, there's not really a market. It's a very niche market for the mini Alpines, and they're great, but we just didn't like
well,
it.
and then when you sell them, it's usually like new people you're selling them to.
Yeah.
And then so you're tossing them into this whole extra level of craziness,
It's
trying
crazy,
to like
yeah.
figure out how to breed them.
Because especially with how to
you're
breed
not
them,
you're not gonna find just a stud that's
Yeah.
mini Alpine anywhere.
and even with the first generation, sometimes those doelings will turn out pretty small because they'll have the Nigerian in them. So then you'll want to find a Nigerian buck, but then to breed them so that they don't like have way too big kids. But then if you have like 75% Nigerian, 25% Alpine kids, that's not really so
That's
great.
just slightly
Yeah, it's like, what are they doing? Did they
chewing on trash.
Gosh, crazy dogs. They quit barking finally.
Oh, now they're chewing on each other.
Yeah. Oh well. So
I don't want them growling at each other while we're recording, because that sounds awful.
they're just playing. They're puppies.
Of course. Okay.
Yeah.
Carry on.
So when we got rid of our first two does, the goats were really freaked out because Dance had to take over as herd queen, but the other two, the Blue is Honey's baby, so she lost her mom, and Don'tcha is Jenny's baby, so he lost his mom also. So Don'tcha just like sulked in the pasture all day. It was sad.
It's interesting though, because he loved her, but she was like,
He
"You
loved
aren't
her.
my baby anymore. Like, you're
Yeah.
from 2 years ago."
They're like, they don't like their kids. They only like their current kids.
except
you're not
for
in my
Jenny and
family.
Honey.
Except for Jenny and Honey.
She always liked Honey.
Oh yeah, they're really attached. Look,
Yeah.
we're at 5 minutes.
5 minutes, okay.
See you next week.